This game, I feel, is the most anticipated game that I never knew I really wanted. Because for me personally, I love the soundtrack of Kingdom Hearts. I own practically every game except for 3D. 3D is kind of hard to track down, and 3s is later down the line when it's readily available. I own pretty much the English version of 1. I had to import 2, and then I imported Birth by Sleep, which came with Coded and the original version of Days, and then the 1.5 2.5 like mega soundtrack, the big box. So yeah, I've loved the soundtrack for years and years and years. I don't know, I have this kind of tick, you know, or something that like a lot of people also might have, where you can't just stop, you know, pop into the music, you know. You can, like, you just tap your desk to the theme, tap your side, your hands, or whatever. You're just going with the rhythm, and I've been doing that for years with a whole bunch of other songs, but like Kingdom Hearts is the one where I'm like really invested into. So just having a melody game, a rhythm-based game for the soundtrack is what's really doing it. It's really doing it for me. It's obviously it's not the story, because there's only like 15 minutes worth of like worthwhile story similar to Coded, but I don't care, dude. They could have just put this game in without the story and I'll be like, I don't care, it's so good. I still love it. And it's insane how that goes back to my previous statement of this is the most anticipated game I never knew I wanted, because I never really thought there would be a Kingdom Hearts rhythm game. Like I wouldn't say like I'm a big rhythm game fan. The only one I really got into was like Guitar Hero 3 on Wii, but I never really got out of my way to like get other rhythm games or even Theater Rhythm. Like I tried the demo for Theater Rhythm when it was on the 3DS, I think. And like I played it, I enjoyed it, but I didn't buy Theater Rhythm because I didn't know the majority of the songs. You know, I only knew, at the time, I only knew 7, 10, and 13. And that's kind of that didn't drew me away from Theater Rhythm, but I just wasn't as invested. And then here's a Kingdom Hearts one. I know all the songs. I've like hummed practically almost every song. Now I'm rewarded for my knowledge of the song, you know? And that's kind of what I really appreciate about this game. It's something that I guess even Yoko Shimomura, she also wanted a rhythm game for Kingdom Hearts, and it fits so well because there's just such a vast amount of music that they can get. Like the track selection, yeah, it's they took as much as they could. Like 3 kind of got shafted, but it became apparent that this game was being made during 3, so they can't really grab everything. So I don't mind the lack of 3. I don't mind the lack of Point 2. The ones that really matter, like 1, 2, 3D and Birth by Sleep, are like, and the really important ones of Chain, Days, and Coded, I guess. But yeah, that's pretty much like what's so appealing for me for this game is all this music that I've listened to for years. Pretty much putting a score to what I just randomly did at work or at school. I'm matching the rhythm. Let's tap my fingers on the desk, matching the rhythm, and this is the same way. Even after like Guitar Hero came out, I wonder how this would work with a Kingdom Hearts song, with a Star Wars song, you know. How would it work? And this game does it so well that I really, really, really enjoy it for that reason. And there's some really good stuff. The only thing I don't want to like criticize the game, but the one thing that's a downer is that the tracks are only the regular version of the original versions of the music. It's not the 1.5 2.5 remix. It's the 2002 Kingdom Hearts 1 version of all these songs, then 2005 or 6, depending on where you are, of Kingdom Hearts 2, The original version of Days, none of the remastered stuff is here, which I kind of feels a little bummer, but I still don't mind it either way. Kind of shows how good these tracks are, how good they were to begin with. And you notice the progression when they go into Birth by Sleep and to 3D. They get more complex, they get more intense. You hear the instrumentation, it's a bit more clear. And then in point 2 and 3, it's like all over the place. Like here, full on orchestra, it sounds godlike. So yeah, that's kind of the appeal for this game. And some of the songs that I figured would be very easy are like pretty tough, because there are some hidden rhythms that I don't recognize at the time. The original version of Hollow Bastion is just a complete mishmash of like, it's the main melody that you're familiar with, but the rhythm might come in and it's something completely different, and it throws you for a loop, and it's like, oh my god, what the hell do I do? And that's why, like, if I were to like check to see which are the tougher songs in this game, it would be the original version of Hollow Bastion. Some things of 2, everything seems to be pretty simple. I haven't, except for, where is it? Waltz of the Damned and Dance of the Daring are so weird in terms of rhythm that you think you got this melody down to a T, and then the game's like, hey, here are the hidden stuff. You start missing these things and you don't get full chains. It took me a while to get full chains on these two. Like a good solid like half hour to an hour just trying to get full chains of these. And yeah, and then you get to the Birth by Sleep stuff and you realize how much more complex some of these overworld themes are in Birth by Sleep. Some of the easier stuff like Castle Escapade that you just to listen to and like not as like nutty are pretty difficult in this game. And just because there are different tempos, Yoko did some extra stuff to them, different techniques, and it's like you can tell that Birth by Sleep is pretty much when the soundtrack started sounding a lot different. Like the identity of the Kingdom Hearts soundtrack of what you knew from 1 and 2 are completely like, hey, anything can happen. Like you hear tumbling. You don't hear stuff like this in Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2 unless you're in Space Paranoids. You get some pretty interesting songs starting from Birth by Sleep, and then 3D continues that trend. And these songs are long. These overworld themes for 3D are long and insane. All for One is a nightmare, but this song is so much fun to play. It's so difficult to like, it's one of the hardest songs in the game, but it's so much fun to execute. Because when you get that execution and it's almost flawless, or you just go flawlessly, it feels so good. And it's what I wanted for a rhythm game. For that execution, for these songs, so recognizable, so iconic. And you're pretty much playing through them and you're doing it flawlessly. It's even more rewarding because the songs are just good, and the way the rhythm is and your execution adds to that feeling of accomplishment, and I just love it. But yeah, this game really is like, it's the unexpected, like, I wanted this. After playing it for, how long have I played this game? After playing this game for 33 hours, other people have played it much more than I have, but after playing it for 33 hours, I'm like, yeah, this is what I wanted. You know it to be true. You can't hide it. This is what you wanted. This is what I wanted, and I love it. And just going back and getting full chains, all excellence, it's a treat. It's so much fun to do. I lose myself in this game. Now, performer mode, yeah, that's a completely different story. I haven't tried performer mode. I'm not good enough for that, but I will do that eventually. This game, it's a treat. I'm glad it exists. Some people probably wanted something extra, and I'm like, this is perfect for me. This is what I wanted forever. Other people wanted like a story-driven thing, and I'm like, dude, no. You don't want a story-driven right now. You want something to just chill. And this is the perfect like comfort food type thing.